Got a free Craftsman today. No, it was $5. I forgot. $5 Craftsman. It looked beautiful in the pictures. Tires aren't worn out, or the wheels, you know. Just doesn't run. It even comes with a bag. So I went for it. So now we got to see if it was worth it. Here she is. See, look at those wheels. Tons of traction. I don't know what the heck happened on that guy. The world. You know, obviously a little dirty, but it's the M230 163 cc Briggs and Stratton. No prime, no choke. This is my first time checking it out. Just got it off the truck. Filter's not bad. What do you want to guess? It's probably just carburetor. Usually is. Let's see if it's got any gas. Yeah. Actually smells good too. I think that, yeah, I don't think this mower is very old. Let's see if there's a date of manufacture sticker right there, 2018. Okay, it's older than I thought, but it's not, still not gonna call that old. Let's check out the oil. Looks all right, I guess. Not perfect, but you know, just junk around there. Bag looks good. No major rips or anything. Yeah, I don't know how someone can have something. So it's 2025 right now. That's 7 years old. How can you have a mower for 7 years and keep it looking this nice? Doesn't look too bad under there. That stuff, that might be tight around there a little bit. I'll have to yank that off before trying to start it or anything. And actually, you know, before I do that, check this out. I am gonna remove the spark plug wire. They never put these where you can like get at them very easily. I don't have huge hands, but holy cow. There we go. All right, spark plug disengaged. I can see it's a Champion, so that's good. It's not some weird Amazon brand. Yeah, now I'll check out those blades closer. I used my trusty little knife there. So I just had a little bit of twine, or who knows what that was. Looks better now. So yeah, let's try to start it, see what happens. I'm using a screwdriver to, gosh, you can't even see in there. There we go. Clean that carb. Okay, I'm just gonna point out, I just tried to start it a whole bunch of times with the spark plug wire disconnected. I gotta get back in the habit of taking that off and putting it back on, because it's safe to unplug it so that you don't chop your hand off. But then in order to start it, you do need it. So just remember, put that back on. I'm gonna try it again. Let's see if this works, because I thought for sure the starting fluid would at least go. It's like, how bad can it be? But we'll see. Okay, it wanted to. It really wanted to. That was because of the starting fluid. So we'll go ahead and do it one more time. And it probably will start and then die immediately. So what I'm doing with the screwdriver, the butterfly is closed so that it's like the choke is on, because it's an automatic choke. So you get a screwdriver in there just so that you can open it, so that your spray can actually go inside. Yep, that's exactly what we wanted. That proves it'll start with fuel. So clean that carburetor. So I had to go take a little break and go help my wife. She thought she saw this giant snake while she was weeding. It was from a snake, but it was just its old skin that it shed. So I went and saved the day real quick. Let's get back to the carburetor. 8mm socket for the two outer bolts on here. And then the inner two, 7 mil. And I'm gonna swap out to the nut driver because that goes faster. All right, 1, 2 little 7mm guys. One, 2 8mm guys. Sorry, just taking me back to my early years with Sesame Street. You know, there's gunk inside here. Looks like it's just a bunch of like pine needles and dust, so I'm not super concerned. But as I start to get all this together, I will clean a little bit of that out. I will not show you necessarily all the cleaning because that's really boring. So once you get those 4 bolts out, you can just pull. It's attached in the back. And then there is a fuel hose up underneath here that is kind of hard to see. I'm going to pinch that off with some vice grips. And then I'll get this fuel hose out of the way. I will use a slotted screwdriver once I twist it just to kind of pry it off of there if I can. Well, not working super good. Just gotta kind of take your time, pry it back. There we go. A little bit of fuel came out. No big deal. And then as I pull this out a little more, I turn it to its side and more fuel is going to fall out, but that allows me to pull off these linkage pieces. There we go. It's off. Let's go clean it. Just getting rid of the rest of the gas. I just keep old mason jars around. All right, take a little toothbrush, just get all the spider webs and obvious stuff from the outside so it doesn't fall inside everything at the worst possible minute. So if you do it first, you'll have a lot better chance of having a good outcome. All right, that's not too bad. So I always start off with kind of a gross inside area here because this is all gross. And I got a 7mm for these two bolts that are holding the bowl on. And I will make mention here, there is a correct way for the bowl to go back on. It's fairly obvious as you're doing it, but just in case. See how it's got this piece up here that's kind of comes out to like a rectangle. Well, as you, let's see if I can pop it. Sometimes you can't pop it without a little screwdriver or something, so just get, man. Okay, come on. There we go. So when you pop this off, you can see the direction this piece comes out that way. And so that lines up, lines up kind of with that and how that. Anyway, you get what I'm saying. So I got a little more fuel here, just gonna set that out there. So it's interesting with these plastic carbs. They're pretty annoying, to be honest. I've cleaned a lot of these. They don't always stay clean very long. So pull that pin out, pull the float out, and there's the needle. And then what you're going to do is pry this piece out. And you can see too, I got like, there's a little bit of junk in that. It looks like already in that jet, and kind of see that there's some gross stuff. Like the rest of this right now, this doesn't look very bad. Not too much nasty stuff in there. But take a screwdriver and carefully get it under this piece and pry a little bit. And then that whole piece comes out. So once you take that piece out, let me just show you. I use these twisty bread ties for the metal piece to go through. So you can see right in here, there's a jet. Just shove that in there a little bit and verify. That's where the fuel comes in. Just kind of make sure that that's clear. Now the rest of the stuff on here, you can see that's a little bit gross. So I'm going to spray some carb cleaner on a toothbrush. Then I'm going to take the toothbrush and scrub it. And you don't have to be super gentle with a lot of that stuff. And don't get too much carb cleaner on that rubber gasket right there. But you can open that up a little bit, spray it out. Once again, kind of just don't get too much on there, dry it off, shake it off. Right when I'm done here, I'm going to take it over to my compressed air, blow everything out. So that'll help. But yeah, there's not a ton to do inside this piece. All the fun stuff is over there. All right, you know what? I'm gonna get another piece of towel. I actually need, so anywhere that you see gunk and nasty junk, just go ahead, clean it out. The inside rim has some gross stuff. Clean it out. And blow on it too, even just with your mouth. Just blow really hard for a second. Blow some of that stuff out. Like I said, all this stuff is going to be cleaned. Oh my gosh. Try not to yank the whole thing as you start pulling parts. Yeah, well, whatever. Not a huge deal. Just make sure you find all the pieces. So, all right, there's my needle. There's my float. And there's the pin for the float. So we're good. We're good. And this piece, pretty clean. I'm gonna blow it out. This piece, I'm gonna spray it out over here. There's not much in there. It's just black plastic. Can't really see anything. So, spray it out, let it dry. But this piece is the key to why this thing is not starting right now. There are jets in there. There's all sorts of little metal, like brass fittings. So just because you have this out does not mean you're done. Grab a small screwdriver, like a teeny one. This whole piece comes off. So let's go down here. See that? Pop that off. There we go. Once that's off, you have little tiny holes on this guy. So take one of those little bread twisty ties, shove them through each hole. There's 1, 2, 3 going that way. So just verify that those are nice and clean. I mean, heck, go through them a few times, wiggle them around. Like, that's the spot that gets clogged the worst. And I can see I've got some dirt on here too. Once again, I will blow all that off. This little spot also, get your bread twisty tie in there. And then also, you know, blow compressed air through there. Compressed air is amazing for this stuff. So the piece that we pulled off also has a jet. So Get in there. Ooh, I can see through that now. That was probably the culprit. I didn't give a great angle the first time, but see how now you can see the light blue behind it, so that's clear. All right, I'm going to go blow all these out with the compressed air. Okay, it is spotless. It's beautiful. Everything's amazing and perfect, which is good, because on these plastic carburetors like this, they get gummed up easy. So, I did see one more speck. You can see those holes are nice and clear. So, we are going to shove this guy back. It goes like this. Right down, and you're going to line this up with that, and it just, as you push down, you can tell, just try to be straight on. Oh my goodness. Yeah, give it a little, there we go. You give it a little twist, and then those two just kind of line up. There we go. Good to go on there. And when you put it in here, see that big hole at the very bottom? That's where the one goes that has the O-ring. That's going to pop right in there. Just push down. There we go. It just kind of, it popped. You could kind of hear that. And then you can see it's all the way down. And if you don't think it is, just give it a couple pushes, but it, you know, there's no science to it besides just popping it all the way in. Okay. Now, we are going to get your needle, which I blew off, and just kind of scrape the tip a little bit, make sure there's no gunk on there. You can replace that, put a new one in, but you usually don't need to if you clean it. So if you take this and just slide it into here and let it balance, hold it back like this. Now, you know what? This kind of pin, go ahead and put your pin in, wipe that off too. Slide the pin in so there's equal on each side. Ooh, it's trying to come out. But as you lower the needle into that hole, then at the same time, kind of line the pin up, and then just gently push kind of in the middle on each side, and it went. So there's your float. And like I mentioned before, you're going to line this piece up with this faced that way. So just right on top like this. The only things you have to line up are these holes that are kind of diagonal. Just kind of wiggle. Yep, there we go. They kind of pop into, and let's see, I'm not perfectly straight, I can tell, so you just gotta kind of twist it. And then once you start these screws in there, it'll help line it up too. So once again, 7mm. Get mostly down on one, and then mostly down on the other side, a little further. Okay, fine, I went all the way on that one. And now all the way on that one. And just check out the height, verify there's no gaps. And we're ready to put this back on. So when you put it back on, there's a few things you need to kind of make sure. Well, one thing, you've got a white piece back there, and you've also got this O-ring. If you put on the back of the carb, let's see, right there, just put the O-ring into place, and then when you shove it in there, it'll kind of pop on there, and that white ring keeps it from going too far. So the main thing we got to do right now is make sure that we can get our linkage pieces in there correctly. So the bigger one is going to go up here, and then the smaller one is going to go in this tiny little hole there. And you just got to play a little bit. And like I showed you before, you turn it. Well, let's start with this guy out here too. It is interesting. But if we turn this and push that one in, okay. And then kind of at the same time before you can hold it how you need to with this lever. You can kind of push on it to get it lined up. There we go. All right, they are both on there. Now before I shove it into place also, I'm gonna get this fuel line and push that on. Nice. Now, line up that back piece. And I think that did it. I'm going to take off my vice grips. And I'm going to pull this little clip back to make sure that fuel line is tight. And you know what? That's gross looking. I'm gonna wipe that out and blow that out. So when you go to put this piece back on, you've got a spot back here that needs to go into this little guy. So you can get at it pretty easily. Like you can even kind of pull it like this first and try to get, you also have to have this like behind it. So just kind of be gentle with it and see. Gosh, as I'm telling you how to do it, I'm not even, because you can take the top of this off too. You can take this red piece at the top off with like two screws. But who wants to do that when all you're trying to do is pop this little piece back on? So if you're careful, there we go. I can see that that got on there all the way. All right. So I like to put the 8mm bolts back in first because I feel like they're easier to align if you can keep the bolt in there. I feel like you can kind of, well, as I say that, I'm having a heck of a time finding that one. All right, I'm going to start that side. And then I'm gonna fix the boot again because I can see it came off as I kept wiggling. So as long as the boot is pliable and you're gentle, pretty easy to get it back on. But yeah, you can see where these need to go. Okay, hang on. What is this one down here is definitely not lining up. It looks like something's kind of in the way. Yeah, I don't like this design because it is hard to tell what is happening. So I'm gonna say I was lying, and I like to put the 7mm ones in first. How about that? I feel like right there. We going? Yeah, just don't get any of them in too tight until you check. This one looks like it's lined up. Okay, now that if those two are good, yeah, forget what I said initially. Gosh. Last time I feel like the 8s were easier, but do the 7s first because that's what actually lines the whole thing up with the air cleaner cover. And then you do these. And they'll tighten the whole thing down. There we go. That's feeling good. All right. Verify those 7s again. Snug, not too crazy. Let's try it.